What's up, everybody? It's me again, and it's time to lean in, bitch. We are here for Married to Medicine. We ain't got quite a full screen, but we have more than the usual on the screen ready to lean. We have Sammy. Welcome back, Sammy, and welcome back, Antonio. Of course, our
Hey,
regular panelists for Married to Medicine, who you'll be seeing throughout the season. We decided to come together to talk about this previous episode and any previous tea. I know, like for example, Sammy, you were here last week, and Antonio, you weren't. You weren't able to talk about the whole quad stuff. So, at any time you want to add anything that you missed, you get a chance to talk about. Of course, you always can. Um, just I guess what is everybody's individual thoughts? Started with you, Antonio, on the episode. Just this episode.
this episode, it was almost like, how sometimes when they're filming, it's like a filler type of
Yeah,
episode. That's
yeah.
kind of what this gave me, is almost like, oh, a filler episode, and hopefully, it kind of picks back up going forward. But
Yeah.
it's almost like, okay, we're just going to give you this little bridge to kind
Mm-hmm.
of get you to where we're going next. I thought the episode overall was just okay. There wasn't a lot that jumped off, but it was still a pretty good episode, though.
Okay.
hmm
And Sammy.
Yeah, it was more so like a filler episode. It didn't really give anything interesting or exciting until maybe the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything before was just like giving us, follow ups as far as what was going on with the ladies and the kids. But I mean, it was just something to watch. It was very much so a filler episode, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah. Especially, I mean, I'm gonna say just in general, like even last week's episode was a little filler-ish to me.
hmm
I guess they kind of introduced a lot more of Anila last episode, but generally, like it takes a while. I think, Antonio, we've been talking, and you were saying that they're doing a good job of setting the foundation. They're getting to where the drama is hitting. It's gonna be like going. So I think that as of right now, it's not boring, but because it's not like how Atlanta was, Housewives Atlanta
it
was. It ain't
definitely ain't.
like that, but it just you can tell there's more to come. So
Yeah.
last week's episode, we saw Contessa almost body slam Anila's mom. She basically told her, "I'm a strong black woman, and I need you to let me go."
She legit told her that I'm very strong, so you might want to back up. She did.
And
I
then
was
she didn't
like,
say
okay,
anything that I
contest.
don't think we didn't know, because we have to remember that she is a past Army vet, and
hmm
she is a very strong person. So I was a little worried for Miss Anila's mom. But in this episode, of course, you know that they're getting ready for this adult versus kids basketball game or whatever it is, which is I think
Yeah,
they've had something similar in the past, and I didn't even realize how much Simone's son has grown until they flashback,
yeah,
and that was just
yeah,
like 5 years ago. He didn't, you know how we, the black
yeah.
folks would be like, he didn't got so big. He didn't got so big.
Legit. Yeah, so big. Yeah,
5 years.
In five
No,
years. I'm like, oh, because I never even realized this. I thought that was cute. But one thing I like, I guess one thing we going to talk about is him wanting to have Jackie come to the game. I think
yeah,
he basically was like, she's my favorite, and obviously she is the one that helped her deliver him as a baby. So he knows that. But like, what were your thoughts on him kind of saying that he wanted her there? Do you think it was like something that she kind of put him up to say, or something he organically felt?
I think he genuinely felt like he wanted Jackie there.
Okay,
yeah,
Because giving me like she don't want anything to do with Jackie. I
right,
think it was really my idea, like he really wanted her there.
okay,
yeah. I agree with that. I definitely think it was all him stating that he wanted her there. It almost kind of took me back to when they had the graduation party. I was
yeah,
like, I wonder if they had a behind the scene conversation where he was like, Mom, why you didn't invite Dr. Jackie? He, straight up said, she is definitely my favorite. So he felt like she should be there. So I'm glad that he did speak up and say that, because I
Mhm.
can't say that she would have been invited had he not stated that.
Mm. You think that maybe he is he? You think he can be the one to bridge them back together? I mean, he probably is not that involved, but this is the second time he has said that, and so it's just like. But I guess he goes to school next episode, so maybe not. I don't know. What you think?
I, I don't
No.
think so. Not him. It's going to have to either be the ladies or the husbands, but it won't be the son. It
My
won't be
mama would
Mike.
have told me stay out of grown folks' business, but that's how I was raised.
Hey,
Yeah, but I think him and Simone kind of have that. You can see that they really have that type of relationship
Yeah.
where he can be like 100% honest with her and say,
Mm-hmm.
what he feels is right, and she will definitely receive it. It almost seems like he's the favorite to me. I mean, I know parents ain't supposed to have favorites, but it's like, and it could be maybe because he's younger and he's going to school, so maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
spending more time together
Mm-hmm.
in that aspect. But I think that she values his opinion and she really listens to what he has to say. And I do think if he was, I'm not going to say he's immature, but if he was mature enough, I do feel like he could potentially be the one to bridge them back together. Absolutely.
Okay. You have anything to add to that, Tammy?
um, I get where Antonio's coming from. He does give me favorite child. Like their relationship is pretty open. They talking about the girls and the condoms, and so I think she does value his opinion. But when he go off to college, that next episode, he ain't gonna be worried about Jackie and Simone. He ain't gonna be worried about what's going on with them.
I can agree with that.
That's true. That's very true. I feel like they've been showing him off a lot this season. And so I
Even in
mean,
confessionals. Yeah.
yeah, confessional. So kudos to them. I mean, he's going to college, especially during this time. So I've enjoyed seeing him. I mean, I need her to stop spending so much time with him. They get back with some of these girls. She filming a lot with him. She filming less with these girls in terms of like 1-on-ones. But that's just my thoughts. Anila, the newbie, we talked about her last week. She had the Rocky, I think it's called, last week.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
we talked about
Yeah.
the whole. Me and Sammy were talking about how they, this lawsuit that Mariah had was trying to get about. They're showing a lot of this
Yeah.
culture, which is something that she wanted. So before we move to the next
Yeah.
subject, since you weren't here, Antonio, what were your thoughts on how they were just like basically giving her culture and just making us eat it? And I said we don't want to eat it, but I mean they just basically spoon feeding us.
Yeah.
We ain't had no choice but to take it.
We had no choice.
No choice, because they laying the buffet out and they like, this is it, eat it all up, get as much as you can. And it's almost like yeah, Mariah, take that. You see what we took, another Indian, took a Indian family, and you see how we're showing them on the show. That just goes to show you that we do it. It's almost like kind of like a nan boo boo type of situation to Mariah, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she just posted recently on her Instagram. She was like, "God is good" or something like that. So I don't know if she won a part of the case. She put something's happening. I don't know. But I'm interested to see where things go at the end of this season. Not for Anila, but for Mariah and just this whole situation. Because like I said, they spoon feeding us. But as far as in this episode, she is building a home. Apparently, that's how her and Toya met. She's building a home around the corner or whatever, and they go and look at the house and the parents are still there. And we talked about the mom last week, how she was, it seems like the husband doesn't really doesn't like her, but he gets very annoyed by her family. And so in this episode, I would have been a little annoyed too, because she was giving her opinion a lot. But that's also mom, so I get it. And she seems to be very much so a mom of the Indian culture. If you know Indians,
Yes.
they gonna talk. They gonna give their opinion about like everything, and then they're not gonna let you finish your subject, your topic. They're gonna keep talking over you, and so I see that in her because I work with them all the time, so I know that culture. But I feel like him being Indian and him being annoyed by her still is a problem. So one thing she said was she talked to the dad. She was just like, "I'll get a divorce." Now I was just like, was she saying she gonna get a divorce from him if it got to that point? Help me understand.
That's what, and I actually wrote that down in my notes where she said, that I'll get a divorce. To me, it was seeming like, because it seems like her husband and her mom, or maybe her parents, they have some type of tumultuous relationship, and it seems like it's been that way for so long. Even going back to last week when they came and he came in the house, he was immediately annoyed with stuff that was all over the floor and stuff that was on the counter and food. And now she's kind of like talking down on their new home that he's working so hard to try and pay for. So it's like I took that as she's saying like, hey, if my mom were to move into here, then me and my husband would be like ripped apart, pretty much, like torn apart. Like there is no like coming back from that. It's the way that I interpreted that statement that she made.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a pretty bold statement too. And her husband may kind of sense that or feel that if it came down to it, she would pick her parents over him. So maybe that's where some of his animosity comes from when it goes towards her mom. Because you can tell that the mom is really involved. She don't hold back her opinion. She gonna say what she want to say, regardless if it's his home or not. That would annoy me. That would annoy me too. So, but yeah,
I agree.
Say that. I was shocked at him, actually.
Yeah, and even when there was when he was saying about the fireplace, he's like, we don't know if we're gonna do marble or something else, and she's like, you know, you should do marble, and he's like, well,
we're gonna do
I'll pick whatever I want, pretty much. Yeah. So it was like, and even in the confessional, he was like, she's like, my mom, you know, pretty much like nice things. He was like, she's a show off. She's like, you're gonna have to stop saying like bad stuff about my mom or whatever. So it definitely seems like this isn't anything new between Dr. Kieran and, you know, and the parents or the mom. Yeah.
I feel like they giving Mama Joyce, Todd, and Candy a run for that. They trying. Now she gonna have to do a whole lot more to overcome Mama Joyce and her antics and the Todd situation. But I'm just saying, like, okay, because she shows she did not mind speaking, and she's been heavily involved, you know, in the last 2 episodes. So I don't know how long she's staying there, because during COVID, I think like if you watching Housewives of Atlanta, which I know we are. Drew's mom went down and got she didn't get stuck, but she stayed down there for COVID. And they were filming Married to Medicine during COVID, so I'm wondering, did they go visit? How long did they stay? Just all of the above. I'm just curious to know, because I would probably you got to go. We get your hotel room. But
I mean, because it seems like they drove up from Savannah, so it seems like to me they'd be able to drive right on back to Savannah.
That's true. Let's talk about Eugene and Toya. Now, we know that Eugene.
Hold up, I'm sorry. One thing that I found funny is it's almost to me like the saying of Keeping Up with the Joneses. Now she know them damn kids did not need a playroom on every single floor of that house. To me, that was just like, come on, man. I thought that was crazy.
Some stuff is just too excessive. That's just too excessive. I feel like some things it's just dumb. It's just especially for women like her that are like housewives that don't really add to the pot. It's just like, excuse me, they lucky to have a playroom, because you gonna be playing in your room and you gonna clean up afterwards if you was my kids. But that's her culture, her family. I don't know. Let me shut up. I ain't got no kids. But I thought that was crazy too. You got anything to add, Sammy?
No, I agree. It was pointless. It was very pointless. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be outside playing with them other kids out there in that big old neighborhood. So you got a playroom on every floor. For what reason?
Eugene and Toya, like I said, now we know Eugene works, but now we know he takes showers and baths, because this is the only time that I've seen him not at work on this show in a period of time. So I was excited just a little bit, not to see him in the tub, just excited to see him away. But him and Toya were having a conversation, and I glanced away for a second, so I missed initially how it started. But it seems like she wanted more time. Is that what I was getting from it, or she wanted to see him more? Go ahead.
Yeah, it was more so. Well, first of all, I mean, at first I was like, the man worked damn 23 hours out of the day, 8 days a week, not 7, but 8 days a week, and the man trying to take a nap, you gonna go wake him up? But I felt like, even still, I get that he works a lot, so I understand her still needing to feel that type of intimacy from her spouse or from her partner. I get that as well. But when they were in the tub, Courtez, what they were discussing, he was kind of talking to her about how she's been so snappy lately, and how he's been very defensive lately with, how she comes at him, and then how he goes into defense mode, and he, I guess, in turn kind of goes right back at her with the same kind of attitude. So that's kind of where the conversation started and what they were
Yeah.
discussing.
Well, with that,
Um,
because I did take notes, but go ahead, Sammy. Go ahead. I'll chime in after you.
Thinking about it now, okay, so it kind of makes sense. She probably is so snappy because she's not getting as much time as she would like with him. Because when she went
Yeah.
and got married, I was like, girl, that's selfish. You know that man been down at the hospital trying to save them lives. You finna wake him up in the middle of his nap. But then when she said in the confessional, like, I want my husband back. I know he's working, but I need more time with my husband. That's probably why the girl is spiraling like she is right now. She got to be home with them kids. She can't see her man. Then she got to go film with them other girls. She tired of them. So maybe that's why she's acting out like that, because she just want a little bit more time.
I can
When
see that.
when
Yeah.
she said I want my husband back, I kind of rolled my eyes, honestly, just because
I did as
I
well.
just feel like when you sign up for that type of life, it's not that you know what you're getting yourself into, but you you have to accept certain things that others wouldn't do. When you are with somebody who's the breadwinner and you're not providing any income like that, it's just like, what do you really expect? It's like Jen Shaw from Salt Lake City. Like, now I don't know what. Apparently, she has the money in her marriage. I can't really speak on that too much, but over here with Toya, Toya ain't got nothing as far as other than
He
from
ain't
the
got the money.
show. So and then this situation is so unique because he's constantly getting them out of trouble. He constantly getting them out of whatever debt she putting them in. So it's like she may want her husband back, but I'm sure he may want his wife back, the one that probably wasn't running him up the damn IRS bill. I'm just saying. I just think it's crazy. So she needs to like be not understanding, but the man tired. We said it one more time. We say he was tired, Antonio. He is tired. He is tired, and
That man
in
is
this episode, it was
tired.
evident he don't even want to take no bath. He just want to go to sleep.
In the tub tired. He was in the tub half asleep. I'm like, girl.
Yeah, and
He did.
I just think she doesn't. She's always been very like she's been like that with Eugene always. She runs him. She really does. Lisa
Yeah.
Nicole said it a long time ago. Like she runs him, and it's just like she doesn't listen. She's like not the worst wife, but to be with Toya, for her to be running up the bills, to doing all this careless spending, and then you talking to me crazy, Eugene. It's crazy. I would have been put her in check. I'm sorry. She
And
needs
then
it.
when he did in the confessional, when they were talking about it,
Yeah.
he was like,
Yeah.
I just come at me better. She just sat there like, I don't give a damn about what you're
She
saying.
just
I'm
be
not gonna change
going.
my
She
way.
has no respect for
Yeah.
him as a man. I feel like she
I agree.
doesn't. Yeah, I
And you
don't
can
know.
tell it's been like that since probably they were dating. And he, she's like, she said something to the effect of, Eugene, he liked, because I would stand up for myself. And he said, I like the fact that
And he
she
wanted a
stands up
woman
for
with that.
herself with a backbone. That's it. And he was like, I like that you stand up for yourself, but, you got to kind of check that, when you come in at me that same
Mhm.
way, but pretty much kind of trying to tell her, I'm not, the girls that you are filming with,
Yeah,
I'm still your husband. And like, you
yeah.
need to, show me some respect.
I just go
She
back
ain't care.
to Lisa Nicole.
She
She
did.
said, "I'm not Eugene. You don't run me, bitch." And we have seen, we have
or
always
when
seen him.
Contessa said, your husband is the biggest bitch.
I mean, that was very rude, but I mean, it was just
It
like,
was.
ooh, child. That's why I said last week, Toya needs to leave Contessa alone because Contessa is the wrong problems that she don't need right now. That she needs to just leave her alone. Um,
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. So they
it's
talked,
true.
and nothing really nothing was really resolved from that conversation between them two. But speaking of Contessa, she had her situation last week, so she meets up with Anila, and Anila basically felt disrespected about her mom, and felt like she threatened her mom. I thought that was a reach.
Yeah,
What were your
yeah.
thoughts?
I thought it was like one of the biggest reaches ever. I'm like, that lady did not, disrespect your mom or threaten your mom is what she said. She didn't threaten her. She was telling her, hey, ma'am, she was trying to be respectful as possible. Please let me go. And she said it multiple times. And I get in their culture, the mom wanted Contessa to sit down. But I think Anila should have at that point kind of tried to tell her mom, hey, stop it, let's get back to dinner so that, Contessa can leave or can go. I felt like it was just a situation waiting to happen. because I was waiting on Contessa to snatch away from the mama last week, like she did Mariah,
And
last season.
okay, listen, that's what I was like.
But she
Please
did
don't let
warn
her
the
do.
woman and say, "Hey, I'm very strong. Like you don't have to let me go because I'm very strong." I said, "Yes, Contessa, you better be the woman and the man," like
Right.
Mariah said when they was doing the impersonations of each other the other season. But I don't think that she threatened the mom at all. But I am glad that she did apologize for making them feel like she was being disrespectful and that
Yeah.
wasn't her point. But I'm glad that she apologized for that. But I'm also glad that she kind of checked, Anila and said, "Hey, we black, you don't put your hands on me. And especially if
Well,
I'm
because
telling
she
you,
used her
don't touch
culture.
me
So
and you continue to do it."
she used her
Yeah,
culture. Like, this is our culture. She's like, what? This is
she
our
did.
culture. And I mean,
Exactly.
that's why I'm just like, I like, and I'm gonna let you go, Sammy. I like that they are introducing her culture, but I feel like she's learning a lot about the other, like the black culture, which we'll talk about later. Like
Exactly.
it's like it's kind of I don't know. It's weird, but go ahead, Sammy.
uh, um, Backing up what Antonio said, I'm glad Contessa apologized because I'm sure she didn't want them to feel disrespected. But
Yeah.
Anila, I feel like Anila has to take more responsibility in that because when Contessa
Yeah,
asked for it to just be done,
yeah,
she should have shut it down at the
yeah,
before you started. So she kind of opened the door for that. So whatever came from it, she got to be responsible for that.
yeah,
But I am glad Contessa apologized, and just I hope Anila means her word when she say, "I'm just gonna stay out of it from now on.
yeah.
That y'all can handle that."
Right.
You
I'm glad that Contessa is, because a lot of people, either people like Contessa or they don't like her. Chase is supposed to be here today. Chase does not like Contessa. He probably would. We talked about, we was going back and forth on Facebook last week after last week's recap, and he was just like talking about how um, Toya, I guess Anila was right. Anila and Toya was right, and I was like, how? And he was just like that. Um, I said that basically Contessa did not ask to be invited to that event last week. She invited her, so it should have been
Right.
that. But nonetheless, I'm glad that she is in this moment. Like Contessa, she looks right. She's speaking for herself, and she's not coming off because it's one way. Sometimes she can be perceived as being like an angry black woman, honestly, and she does. She can
Yeah.
be a little. When she gets upset, she goes there, but for her to speak to Anita, like you said, apologize and just basically tell Anita, like, I told you, like, to leave it alone. I told you that this is between me and Toya. Like she said, you're not speaking for both of us. You're speaking for Toya because you don't
you
know
speaking?
us. And I
Yeah.
was just like,
You don't
you're
know.
right.
Right.
And that's any situation. Like, you
It's
don't know.
true.
If you knew coming in, like, you really don't know what's going on in this circle. I say that all the time with my own friends. You're new. You don't know what's going on. So stop trying to be Captain Fix-a-Hole and stuff like that. Like, no, I agree with Contessa. So I'm just glad they spoke. I didn't know. I thought from the preview it was going to end kind of crazy, but it's not. And then it looks like she's still gonna, be friends with her. Like we talked about last week, Sammy. Recently, they were
Yeah.
hanging out. All was hanging out.
Yeah.
Anila, Contessa, everybody except for Simone and Toya. So I'm
And
glad that they, do that. And then the last scene is the game. Now I thought the game was funny how Kevin was cheating. She
Yeah.
kept cheating
Yeah.
with them and what's her name? Alora, Antonio's face
Laura.
Laura.
was just like, why you cheat? She's like, I don't say that. Don't say I'm a cheater. um, what did y'all think about, well, first off, when they came in, of course, Anila was talking to Toya, and she just basically was like that. She talked to Contessa. Toya was just like, like, girl, I don't know why you talking about that. Contessa came in, paying Toya dust. I liked it. But
Yeah.
what did you think about, I guess, how Toya, I guess how dismissive she was of the conversation with her saying that she spoke to Contessa?
That was classic Toya. I wasn't expecting nothing else for her but to be dismissive and
Yeah.
shady, and just like she told at the end of it. But if you think that's a good friend to have, then good for you. Like just unnecessary, very
Yeah.
very Toya.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't expect anything more. And I understand that Toya or Anila is Toya's friend. So of course, when she sees her, she's gonna, bring it up to her, that she
Mm-hmm.
spoke to, Contessa.
Mm-hmm.
But unless they like cut it out, I didn't really see Contessa really speaking about the her and Toya situation.
Right.
So maybe it was more of the conversation than what they showed on, on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Because Toya's like, why in her confessional was like, why is it that you're talking, about me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that was the point of the conversation. It really does seem like Contessa is trying to not be in,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the mess, which I feel like as being on a reality show, um, I like to see all the black people and how successful they are and to do these amazing things. But we all tune in because we want a little bit of the drama. And you can't be on reality TV, walking
Without
away or trying to, oh, I'm just gonna rise above it.
Mm-hmm.
No, sometimes you gotta sit there and you really gotta bask in it, and you got to give the people, us, what we want, which is a little bit of drama.
That's true.
So
and pause because when speaking of seeing black people being successful, shout out to Heavenly because I didn't know she had all that property back.
all of that
Yeah.
house, that was
Doing it like that.
amazing.
I
I
love
That
think
was
it.
amazing.
I'm looking
That full
like,
court, just everything. Even the people walking up was like, wow, this is
Big as
like
your house. I love
huge.
to see
Yeah,
that.
but you know what? They've never really shown that. They make it seem
they haven't.
the I guess the feel for her house was that it was a big house, but it was an old house. At least that's how they tried to shade it
Yeah.
back in the day. So it looks like she's making renovations. Because that's her home,
Yeah.
and both of them make good money. So I thought that was Chloe and Hallie's little backyard. They be shooting their videos on with the court.
Those are the
Yeah, I was like, oh, I
But she
think it.
did say that they have been living there for like 20 years and they've
Yeah,
had it for, 20
yeah,
years. So they've had it for a while. But I,
yeah.
I really did not expect all of that and that full basketball work because I do like basketball myself. So I'm gonna see if I can, go over to
Yeah.
Heaven House and play, a
place.
little basketball or something. Yeah.
If you go, let us know if she pressure washed yet. I want to know if she pressure washed.
uh, yeah, but I am gonna check it. I'm sure she have though, because she been making like her renovations. They got her new patio furniture, her fireplace
Hmm.
going around and everything. So I'm sure she done pressed to watch that motherfucker by now, which is what.
Now, the things you just mentioned are half the things that Toya says she's stealing from her. Do you think she really stealing from her? Stealing her ideas, stealing
I,
her
th-
renovations?
I don't think it's more so of stealing, but I think.
Inspiration is there from Toya, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think the inspiration is
Yeah.
there. I agree with Quad from last week. Now, granted, Heavenly is funny. I love her, but Heavenly in a 3-story closet, it just don't. I just don't see. I really want to know like what she got on those shelves. Like I want to know what kind of shoes she got, handbags. I want
She
to know
got
all of that because
she
I.
got thermometers and clipboards and pens.
Scrubs, all that good stuff. You don't need 3 stories.
Few wigs.
Man, so I'm thinking that it was more so it was she was inspired, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking it was also more of a let me put this in your face right quick and show you what I
Mm-hmm.
can do. You can do a 2-story, I'm gonna do a 3.
Cause she can.
Oh,
I
you're gonna
mean,
have the fireplace set up. I'm gonna have my fireplace go all the way around. So it
mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, yeah.
Which,
She was a little petty, a little shady with it.
She was very shady. But yeah, I think she definitely saw Toya's and was like, I like that. Let me go ahead and do it. She ain't gonna admit that, but Heavenly ain't had no need
Never.
for 3-story closet. She wasn't thinking about no 3-story closet.
She
Mm-hmm.
wasn't.
Okay, so let's talk about her and Anila. Now, I like how they showed all those flashbacks of every new person coming in, how she came with them. It just, I mean, Heavenly, people say she tacky. I love Heavenly. I think she is hilarious. I never understand where it comes from, but I do think that when she drinks, she definitely gets into like that one auntie at the cookout that's just going out for whatever reason. And so
Yeah.
with Anila, I didn't quite understand what happened, but I know that Anila was telling her husband to get the kids, and then she was just like, "Why you don't get the kids? Like, what you do?" And she was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
blogger." And this is the second time I've seen Heavenly talk about this whole blogging thing. I told y'all I did the Married to Medicine happy hour right when the show premiered, and she threw a little shade at bloggers on the B Scott, in front of B Scott and for the happy hour, and B Scott threw shade back. So it's funny because Heavenly actually is a blogger now. That's what she uses
Yeah.
the top of her
Yeah.
closet. She is a blogger, so and she's been doing it for a while. Like that's not just this season. So I'm interested to see. I did like how Toya was just like, if it pays the bill, cuts the check, it's a job. Because realistically, like what I'm doing right now is considered
Yeah.
block. I ain't making no money for it right now because I just enjoy it. But eventually, I plan to get there, and so.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I get what you're saying, Heavenly, but I can't agree with you, that girl. And I'm sure a lot of other bloggers are like, who she thinks she is?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like
especially with her being one too. Like, what was the purpose of the
Right.
shade? You getting off at 2 p.m. and then you going home up to your third story in the closet, blogging too, but you gonna throw shade at her.
Yeah.
I feel like Dr. Heavenly kind of, because like both her and her husband, she's a dentist, he's a doctor, and she kind of likes to put her black excellence in, people's face a little bit. So I think that's kind of where she's like, oh, well, I don't really see that as a real career, because you don't necessarily have to go to college for it or anything like that. You just have to be tech savvy and interested in the material that you're going to speak on. So I feel like she is, having a personality. I just feel like she is seen as, oh, you're not a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, like me or some of my friends. So that ain't no real job, but it definitely is a job. It takes preparation. You got to take notes. You got to write shit down. You got to be looking at shit. You got to always be on Instagram. You got to look at the damn Twitter, the Facebook, everything. So it is definitely a lot of work goes into it, especially when you are trying to be really successful at it. So I agree with what Toya said. Hey, if it gets you a check, then it is a job. So yeah, absolutely.
She told Toya, she was like, why don't you blog?
She did. I wrote that down too.
And she was so serious.
She was. She was like, well, it don't mean it's something. Why? She was like, well, you want to defend it. Why don't you blog? Just because of check. See.
Yeah. And Toya didn't really catch that shade, I don't think, in that moment when Heavenly initially said it. But yeah, that was funny as hell to me when she said that. Why don't you blog? Like, you said you get a check for it. You need a check. Exactly.
Well, she loved to say that, Toya don't do shit. She been saying that for seasons. I think she even said, she was like, they was like telling about cleaning some, and she was like, I ain't cleaning shit. Let Toya them do it. They don't work.
They ain't got no job. That was at the end of the
Yes. She stay on Toya when it comes to that. But with Anila, the whole Black Lives, that's what I'm saying. Like I think, Sammy, we talked about how some of these scenes we ain't really seeing because they showing it to us when it's convenient for the conversation, but they ain't showed it to us before. And so we didn't see her have an interaction with Anila at that party. All we saw Anila was sit there. She sat there. Right.
Yeah. So when they played it, like, okay, this is why Heavily picking at this girl because she didn't like that conversation.
Exactly.
So now
and that's why it's like they didn't and I wish they would have shown us that because I'm thinking like why she picking at her, but clearly she had a valid reason. But when because I didn't understand what she said, I was like, damn, Heather, why would you say that? She was like, you talking about things, you be talking about Black Lives Matter because you don't know nothing about that. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on
that?
that?
I knew she was gonna say something too, and it was like the way that she brought it up though was kind of like forced because she's like, oh, I don't really want to talk about blogging, but let's talk about Black Lives Matter. When she had spoke to her son and he was, it almost to me like when he was speaking to her, if I wasn't looking at the TV, I would have thought it was Damon talking to Heavenly because he sounds just like Damon.
Yeah.
When he was Dr. Damon when he was speaking to Heavenly.
Yeah.
And when she was asking about, how should she approach it and what should she say and this, that, and other, I knew she was gonna eventually bring it back up again, especially in her mind at that time. She was, on her crown and coke. So she
definitely was on her crown and coke, honey. She definitely was on her crown and coke.
So she was just waiting for the opportunity. So when it came up, I thought the transition into the conversation about the Black Lives Matter was forced, but I felt like it was something that Heavenly felt she needed to get off her chest. Yeah. And because they started like going back and forth, so, nobody could really get a full point out or sentence out. So it's almost like a conversation that they need to revisit again because when shit settled with what they was doing.
I think they definitely going to be revisiting it again. If you remember while they were going at it, Anila stopped and she was like, hold on, let's go back and finish talking about vlogging. But then Toya came and started hollering and screaming so they didn't get to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think Anila going to have that on her shoulder now with Heavenly until she get to get off her chest. It's definitely come up again.
It's interesting, especially during the time of last year when this was filmed. That topic, I don't love Anila, but I think she's okay. So I hope it don't like hurt her. I hope nobody ain't like writing, BLMs under her page right now because we don't really know what really happened. Like they threw it at us and was like, "Ooh, here, this is
Right.
what happened." So we don't really know what was said. What was it a form of ignorance? So we don't really know what it is. So hopefully I'm sure through reunion it'll come up. I'm sure maybe even next week when they continue to
Yeah.
talk, it'll come up. But I don't like how they kind of just blindside us. Like, dang, okay,
Anila did try and explain it somewhat. She's pretty much, was trying to say, I'm not saying that, our struggle is the same as yours. She said she was speaking more so on, she understand about,
yeah,
people acting a certain way towards you or treating you a certain way because
yeah,
of, your ethnicity or your nationality or whatever the case may be. So she did try and clean it up.
hmm
In that way, I really would have liked to see more of that conversation to kind of know how it went because what production flashed back to, she was pretty much saying like, yeah, like, well, I understand exactly what the black people are going through. Is what I kind of got from that little very
hmm
short snippet that they showed. So I do wish they would have shown a bit more about that conversation, not only just to clarify that, but just because I do feel like it's still a conversation that
It's
needs to
important.
be had.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
important,
right.
right now. So I feel
It's
like they should have shown more of that.
Do y'all think that? What do y'all think is going to happen when Quad comes around with Toya, knowing that she told her that?
Man,
It's they gonna go at it.
they gonna go at it. Mess. And I'm ready for it. They need to come on and get it, speed it up. Go on and throw Quad back in the mix.
Actually, I think I want to say I seen on the trailer where it
They were in that,
shows Toya
yeah,
and Quad like going at it. They gonna
Oh,
go at
I
it because
did.
Toya,
Oh,
I
I
will say this.
did see. I
yeah,
remember that.
each
It
other's
was.
face.
It was very aggressive,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Okay.
Because Toya ain't no punk. I'm gonna give her that. She gonna speak up. She may say the wrong words, or she may say some stupid ass shit, but she
But
ain't no punk. She gonna
fine.
stand her ground.
Oh
But
yeah,
Quad, you got to be ready for Quad, and I'm ready to see them face off
Yeah.
because Quad just kind of went in on Toya, knowing she had seen that damn video already. Because we had
she
all
in
I
that video.
It's
the
just it's
live the
the
night that they was
line.
actually doing it.
The line for me, I've been saying all weekend is, we should say, you said y'all cool, right? I'm sorry, that take me out. Heavenly was so messy with that. You said y'all was cool, right? Huh? You see y'all was cool? That is so funny to
She
me. So,
was.
but yes, Quad did go in. I know you weren't here last weekend, and we said the same thing. Like, dang, she ain't try to text you and be like, did you say something about what's going on here? She just
Just
Right.
immediately was just like, yeah, big bar stole, right? Dead on dead. It just went like left. So, but their relationship always been whatever. We ain't never really. They have been like, they may have been like one of those frenemies. I feel like because I feel like way
yeah.
back then when Mariah and Quad were cool, that relationship had already been set from the start. They always thought Toy was tacky, and from that point, like they always just kept some kind of distance. They can kiki and laugh and stuff like that, but it ain't gonna be right. But it's funny
Yeah.
because they were both wives. Like neither one of them did nothing, so you thought they would have bonded, but they, you know how they felt about Toya back then. She was attacking Toya.
Yeah, they definitely. I remember Mariah said, "Yeah, when I met Toya, she was wearing True Religion jeans and flip flops."
They used to kill me.
but,
But
but
Toya has
yeah,
made her way through.
but
She's made her own. I would say
she
she
has.
lasted a lot longer than I thought she would. And so I
Yeah,
think
she did.
um, she's definitely needed around. So uh,
Now,
go
let me
ahead.
say this
Go
also
ahead.
before we. But I did like the fact that because Heavenly, especially to somebody that's new, Heavenly can maybe be a bit intimidating because her tongue gets sharp, she get loud, her
Mm-hmm.
hands get the way.
Mm-hmm.
But Anila didn't really like back down from
And
Heavenly.
Flint,
So I always like for when the new people come into the group, I like when somebody comes at them that they kind of stick up for themselves,
that
that they kind of they ain't you're not gonna punk me just because I'm new to the group or because you don't know me. You're not just gonna be able to come at me and say whatever you think you want to say and not expect me to come back. So I did like the fact that Anila kind of stood up for herself.
That's what initially drew me to Contessa, because when she came, Heavenly was at her, but she wasn't here. And ever since then, I've been team Contessa. But I like them both now. I agree. When the new girls come and you try to give them that stuff and punk them and scare them off, and they don't budge, I love it. I love that. Especially
I agree.
Looking at her, you would think going up against Heavenly, she gonna be real timid and real scared about it. But she was like, "No, let's go back and finish talking about this blogging stuff. Let's talk about that."
She did. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing. I like her so far. So far.
Think about who. I mean, honestly, who has really backed down to Heavenly? Now she come at them strong, but I don't think anyone there is scared of Heavenly. To be honest, I love Heavenly, but no one's scared of her. I mean, I think back to, you remember the girl, the white girl Jill, back in like season 3 or 4.
Yeah, I do.
And then the lady they showed on the episode, this I think the black lady with short hair. Nobody has ever backed down from Heavenly. Janice, like her, Contessa, she just real sharp with it. And I think that's why eventually those people she always come for, she usually becomes kind of cool with them, because
that's true.
It's sad. It's like a hazing method, but when you
almost like a hazing.
As long as you ride back at her, then you good. You know, but if you show a little bit of like Mariah, it's crazy, because that mama stuff I always got on her nerves, and she constantly kept doing it, because Mariah could say some stuff, but Mariah really was the only person I felt like that could not keep Heavenly in check, and it was sad to watch. So, but yeah, definitely Contessa, Jill, Anila's, she's working her. We're gonna see, child. I don't know if she is capable to be really going there with the tongue, but I think she kind of caught up with that Black Lives Matter, especially being amongst these black women. It really was only so many ways that can go.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it is. So she was already at a disadvantage. I feel like just based off the environment. But yeah, I don't know. Was there
disadvantage because won the conversation, and then she was at Heavenly House. So I mean, what could she say?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. All she had to say was the wrong thing. If she said the wrong thing on accident, and even if she didn't mean it, it would have been over for her. So I applaud her for not saying the wrong thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
It could have went left.
Because especially sometimes when you get to in the heated moment, and you kind of going back and forth with that person, and sometimes you might say some shit like, and not really realize that you didn't really said it, almost like Nene calling Kenya Baby a buffalo, but she meant to just.
She just meant to say Kenya was big.
I think she
meant to say Kenya was big. She just kind of got to saying shit. So I'm glad that she didn't. The wrong words did not come out of her mouth. What was funny though, when Toy brought the other girl, I agree with Heavenly. Why are you bringing all these random folks to my house? And we in COVID? Because I'm like, why did she even need to be like that? Chanya or whatever her name was.
I'm like, she was a nurse practitioner.
Maybe she was being tested out. She could have been.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
I mean, she's a nurse practitioner.
She said it that way.
They have medical friends, but they do be bringing around some girls and stuff. We may not see her. We may see her next season for real. You just never know. Anila could have probably
that's true.
Around, but I mean, I don't know. She's just a wife, so I think that was pretty much all that happened right in this episode. Next week's episode, the son goes off to school, the girls hanging out in the pool, we fall off. Lisa come back.
Nicole.
I'm not a Lisa stan, but I have always enjoyed some Lisa Nicole. I thought she brought some great moments. I wish Chase was here,
as well.
If y'all didn't know, Chase did work for Miss Lisa Nicole. He actually was on the show back in like season 2, season 3 when I first met Chase. So yeah, that's a mess too. But are there any final thoughts on this episode and the upcoming episode?
It was cool. It was enjoyable overall. Yeah. Nothing too exciting. Hopefully next week is better.
Yeah.
The 5-10 minutes when Heavenly went on a rampage about whatever, that was the most entertaining of it all for me for this week's episode.
Yeah, I agree that it was okay. When Heavenly rounded out and was like, pretty much yelling up, y'all bitches come clean this shit up because y'all ain't got no jobs, no way. I was like, okay, go ahead and go to the credits now, end scene, because Heavenly is nuts, and it's just she almost remind me of like people that I know back home that's just loud and just say what they got to say, and they don't give a fuck how you take it or how it comes off. They just really say what they got to say. So that was to me a funny way of ending it. Um, I am looking forward to the next episode, especially the reintroduction of like Lisa Nicole. It looked like Carrie Wells was sitting there
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
as well at the
Oh
house.
yeah.
Um,
And Lisa looks
Carrie
good.
Wells was
She
sitting
looks
there.
good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
she
give her that.
did.
She does look good.
She
She
looks
looks
good.
happy. Is
She
she
looks
still married?
happy. She looks. I don't. We gonna find out. I'm sure they gonna
I
talk
think
about it.
they are still.
Well, she
Yeah.
looks
Oh,
happy.
okay.
She didn't picked up a little weight. Like
Yeah,
it looked. It looked. She looks like a woman, full woman. I mean, she was a woman then, but I thought she was like a little woman back then. But now based off what I'm seeing, I'm excited to see. I mean, you know, like I said, I've always liked Lisa
I am
Nicole.
too.
I thought she brought us one of the best moments of the whole
Yeah.
franchise. So, so yeah,
Especially, I want to really see her and Heavenly kind of
baby, that's
go
gonna
with
be
it again. It's
bad.
almost like they still have unfinished business from like seasons ago when she ended up leaving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I hope that as far as all of them with the reintroduction of Lisa Nicole and Carrie Wells and the current wives, I want to see Quad in that
Yes.
mix as well. So I hope that we get to see Quad in the mix with everybody and
Yeah.
everybody in the mix as opposed to, okay, Quad over here with Heavenly or Simone or whatever the case may be. I want to see them all together. So I hope they kind of give us that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good because I think that this is like, unlike other shows, this is really almost the whole cast has ever been on the show, with the exception of
Yeah.
Mariah. She's the only person that will be missing from this, which is like I hate when that happens. It's almost like when that one season of Housewives of Atlanta, when they had, I think it was season 10, they had everybody except Phaedra, and it was just like, well, dang, there's always one missing. But we'll see. I think it's gonna be a great mix. I don't really think Carrie added much, but it'll be good to see how she acts
Yeah.
now. But I'm ready for Lisa, Quad, and was that it? And the other girls, yeah, other girls. Everybody else is there too, so it'll be fun.
Hmm.
With that being said, I think we're about to lean out. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, all things to lean. Sammy and Antonio obviously will be here throughout the rest of the season, and
Mhm.
support. Like I said, the lean. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers. So we getting there. We are like up 100 something subscribers since last week. So subscribe, child, because we need it. I know y'all watching. We gonna lean out. We'll talk to y'all later. Follow Sammy and Antonio on Instagram. The names here, and we will talk to y'all later.